Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
People can actually watch this footage and believe it's real.
Houston, we've had a problem. Main B, bus undervolt. Roger, main B undervolt. Stand by 13, we're looking at it.
So tell me, everybody, why haven't we been back?
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Now, I want you to think about the absolute crazy amount of progression there has been in the last 50 years with technology. It's a painful process to build this again. Is that foil? Let's not forget the phone call transmitted from the moon to the president.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly...
That's the most telling part to me, because you can't even put film through certain scanners at the airport without destroying it, but you can transmit all the way from the moon to the Earth through the Van Allen radiation belt. But I know people actually believe we didn't go to the moon.
So yeah, I can actually look at that footage and believe still that we went to the moon. I mean, yeah. Right? Hey, thank you so much for stopping by today. If you're having a good time, won't you hit that like button for me and consider subscribing? Then come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new episode every single day.
Based on 28 years experience and research, I have determined there are thousands of victims who have been targeted by an illegal U.S. government rogue criminal enterprise that is active 24 hours a day throughout the United States. A network of victims who work with me have reached the same conclusion based on one, their personal experience. These are the people who come to me. Two, the significant number of victims, thousands of them. And three, the extent and intensity of the harassment. I'm talking about micro beams, I'm talking about surveillances, I'm talking about poison gas, everything evil that you can think of.
At first, I thought it was going to be like the typical, the government is targeting certain groups of people, like different races or religions and things like that. But then he mentioned microbeams and surveillance and these poison gases. And it made me think of a study that I saw back in like the 80s, I believe it was, where the military was releasing poison gases into like San Francisco for days and days on end, and then recording, what was happening, which is, just like the government. So yeah, there are ways that the government is actually able to target you. I've heard of like DNA targeting, like they're releasing stuff from airplanes, right? We all know about contrails, and that's been going on for a while.
I can't believe Prince said this.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing, and you didn't know why.
Some of you wake up and see all these trails in the sky, but you don't live by one airport. They say it's just condensation from the plane, or that they're using these big tanks and airplanes to test weight limits. But what do you think? Is it just condensation coming out the plane, or was Prince actually onto something?
Nah, I don't know. I understand the science behind, the explanation of the trails that airplanes leave behind. And I understand it. And I believe that it's true. But at the same time, how convenient is it that that happens and stuff can be placed into this trail that is leaving, and none would be the wiser, right?
King Solomon and the Ocean Gate submersible. Was it an occult ritual, and are they getting ready to do it again? Ocean Gate co-founder Guillermo Solane is planning a trip to Dean's Blue Hole, one of the world's deepest ocean sinkholes. It is 202.997 meters, or 666 feet deep. Solane revealed his plan around the anniversary of the Titan submersible implosion. It is an interesting name for the submersible that met a fitting demise, because the Titans were imprisoned in a cavity beneath Tartarus. Also, why did the Titan look like Solomon's Shamir? A warmer substance with the power to cut through or disintegrate stone, iron, or diamond. Solomon was said to have used it in the building of the first temple. In one story, the demon king Asmodeus told Solomon that the shamir was given by God to the angel of the sea, who then lost it and later committed suicide. This is how Solomon was able to obtain it. The shamir was meant to have always been wrapped in wool and stored in a container made of lead. Any other vessel would burst and disintegrate under the shamir's gaze. On board the Taya was Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman. Shahzada means prince or king's son. Suleiman translates to Solomon, and Dawood is the equivalent to the biblical David, the father of King Solomon.
Now, I'm not very well versed in scripture, any kind of religious scripture at all. I do understand a lot of it and I know some key points, but when you get down to the nitty gritty and you start digging in, I got nothing. But I think it's interesting how certain things are making connections and people see these connections and they bring them to us. I think it's fascinating. I also find it interesting that it has already been over a year since that submersible implosion. That was in June of last year. And time has just flown. This last year, oh my goodness, where the heck did it go? There's always a lot of supposition that everybody in politics is either replaced by changelings or shapeshifters or aliens or skinwalkers, demons, right? And this goes right along with that. There's this person that looks like Kamala and it's a dude and he's like in some satanic something or other and they're like, oh yeah, that's definitely her. She's been replaced. Or she's being replaced by, a stand-in because of the whole thing that's going on with Joe Biden, right? How he was all, a mess. And we have heard like next to nothing about him lately, have we? It's interesting how he's just been pulled out of the limelight and now it's all spotlight on Kamala because she's the one that's running. But there's still somebody at the helm, right?
Billions of people's social security numbers may be on the dark web right now.
In a lawsuit, a hacking group claims to have stolen personal records of nearly 3 billion people from the National Public Database that offers personal information to employers and private investigators who are doing background checks. So obviously very concerning. Bill Buddington with the Electronic Frontier Foundation joins us right now. So Bill, welcome. And look, you work for an international nonprofit that promotes digital rights. So first question here, do you think that the hackers stole all that information? Do you think they have it?
Well, early indicators show that the information does look legitimate. It's not completely clean information, so that some of the social security numbers they have might not be your real social security number, but a lot of the data looks legitimate, and it does include social security numbers, addresses, phone numbers, and a whole slew of information.
Yeah, again, that is very sensitive information, obviously very concerning. So how could this impact people who might be watching right now?
Yeah, so if this information is disclosed and it looks like it's being disclosed, it means that a malicious actor could, glean information on you to open new lines of credit, to impersonate you, attacks on your identity and identity theft. And so really taking some precautions is prudent right now.
So I've concocted a hell of a doozy of a theory inside my brain. It is sick. It's disgusting. And I'm going to share it with you. So right now, what's going on, right? We're in the middle of an election year, right? Everybody's campaigning. And not too long ago, our borders were like wide open and all kinds of illegal immigrants just came flooding in, right? Those people aren't able to vote. But if they can get like some social security numbers and some names and some IDs and stuff like that, they'd be able to vote. It's interesting, right? I'm not saying it's accurate, but this just popped into my brain and I'm like, hey, that sounds like something. We should probably talk about it. It's gross, like I said. It's absolutely like deplorable. But what if? Just saying.
Have you ever heard of air? It's a risk that you run when you go into these like enclosed places that have been closed for a long time. Basically what it is it's all like nitrogen,
some type of gas,
but it's like it mimics oxygen in that you feel like you're filling your lungs, except for you're getting no oxygen, and so you think you just die.
Just suffocate.
You suffocate.
So it's air just being, I don't know, that's weird, like without oxygen for so long, and like that's so
Where
weird.
would those places be? Sealed off cave or something?
Yeah, I mean, like think about like in Edinburgh, like how the city was built on top of the city, and how that happened in New York as well. It's the same scenario. So when you're going into these pockets, beware.
Beware of the air.
That's I saw that was like advice you don't really expect to hear, but you really need to know.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, if you ever see somebody in a crawl space or like in a tight area and they're like not moving and they're asleep or something, do not crawl in after them, because something in that tunnel or crawl space is probably what killed them, like the air alone. So it's like there's been cases of that where people will crawl in trying to keep saving people, and they just keep recycling because it's all from the air.
Oh.
Don't be a hero.
What a horrifying situation that must be. Like, be with somebody that is like, they enter a crawl space or whatever to go from one cave to another, and they just like, you know, and to not save them, like to force yourself to not save them because whatever had got them can get you. But that is scary. That is scary. I mean, I don't do caves or, you know, none of that crap, because I don't like getting myself in situations where I could very possibly not make it out. That's dumb. But that's a scary thing.
Well, just another coincidence in this crazy world of coincidences. Hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of every American. And you're going to tell me this happened on the same day that the Social Security Administration was founded, August 14th. No way! It just sure seems like we just live in a world full of coincidences. Nothing to see here, guys. Go back to your daily scheduled programming. Now, this is where my little opinion comes in. I believe this is all a purpose with the Hegelian dialectic, the problem, reaction, solution, because there is a security issue. So then how do you fix that security issue? Well, the answer will involve some form of technology that will tie in some type of digital identification, which will also tie into a financial system, because we are seeing everything crashing around us because the financial system is not secure. We have that Iranian hack on the central bank in Iran. So, okay, the banks are not secure. Our social security is not secure. Oh yeah, our border is not secure. So we need to have identification to be able to make sure that you are a citizen. So at the very root, the measures that will be implemented to stop these types of hacks and security breaches will ultimately strip away more of our freedoms and liberty. But this is the ultimate goal. Again, my own personal opinion, speculation, theory. It is part of the Hegelian dialectic.
I don't know if your brain is moving as crazy fast as mine is right now, because that just opened my brain like to this insane possibility of what could actually be happening. Like, this whole social security breach is like orchestrated to further the whole digital currency, digital everything. But I mean, that stuff is already digital. That's how it was freaking hacked. But is it like, this is where we're going into the implants? Like, we have to be implanted with this stupid little, like, all of our personal information, and then you start getting scanned everywhere? Like in these freaking smart cities, right? Oh my God, okay, my brain is like exploding right now with the possibilities of all this other crap that we've just talked about that is being put into motion by this little breach. I know it's not a little breach, it's a huge breach, but it's too much. It's too much things to think about. My brain is going to pop. Wow. Let me know what you think about it, and we'll like explode brains together. It'll be fantastic. I'm calling it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.